women should not be in position of power.
Interesting. Ooh, we got one.
Game over. Just like his hand says.
I'm the only one. I think a woman can be in a position of power only by herself, but not in relation to being in a relationship with a man. Because when she's in a relationship with a man, the man has to be the leader. The man has to be the one that's guiding the situation, directing the situation. If it's in any other situation by herself with work, with her friends or whatever, she can do whatever she wants to do.
That's
Game
a good take.
over.
That's a good take.
Your game is over.
I first want to ask, because there was a lot of like has to, have to's, but like not really a reason behind it. Like, can I ask, like, what's your reason behind like why a man has to be in power? Why can't a woman be in power?
Power is such a weird word. I would say more like the leadership role. And the thing is that a man has to lead a woman. He has to guide a woman, because what happens is that when it's the opposite, when a woman is leading that man, she usually loses respect for him. When she's in a relationship with a man who is, under her, who's submissive to her in a lot of different situations, then she starts to lose respect for him because she's looking for a man to lead and guide her. If you notice, they have sex with the bad boys, but then the nice guys get tossed to the side. You see, why is that?
Well, if you look at them psychologically, they have past traumas and issues probably. But like, look, there's women for you, right? I mean, like, you're on a different scale, what I would say. Some women want a guy like you because they don't want to do anything, right? They don't want to take that position. I'm around a lot of women who don't want that. They're in positions of power, not just in work, career, at home. I know a lot of them. I do business. I find women much more pleasant to do business with. But when you're talking about maybe being at home, I don't know. It's just like, I think when you get into your part, your end of the pond, it can get a little bit mucky. You know what I mean? And I don't really subscribe to that as well.
I heard you say you were from New York. I lived in Manhattan for 30 years as a fashion designer in the heart of Manhattan. She was working as a fashion editor. I held it down with the 3 kids. I was the one bringing the money home. I was the one doing that. After my son, my youngest, went back to school, she went back to work. I always wanted to have my own collection. She was like, you should do that now. So guess what? She had the job. She paid the bills while I was building my company. So I could be strong in our relationship and be a man in our relationship, but I also got to know what it means to have a partner next to me, and not someone that I have to lead.
Well, I think it's really, really important to specify what leading means. And so right now we're talking about, you talked about, okay, we do the chores. Sometimes she pays more, sometimes I pay more. I think it's looking at a really superficial level. I think what you look at in a relationship, when you look at leadership and the one that is following per se, is who's the one holding down the emotional space? Like, who has the capacity to show up as the rock the majority of the time in a dynamic? And if that is the woman, I believe, for the most part, the polarity gets thrown off and there will be a deficiency in the sexual attraction that she'll have for you. If you are more excessively emotional and unstable than your wife, I do believe that's going to lead to issues in the relationship.
A man's job is to be the mountain that a woman's emotional waves crash into, like straight up. So women are always going to be more emotional than men. Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree.
So, and the only reason I didn't come sit down is because I have some really, really good women in leadership roles in my businesses, and they are absolute leaders. Now, they might lead under me, but I think they stand alone as leaders, and I respect them enough that I would never come sit down over that particular statement because it's too vague. But in the relationship, yes, sir, I do agree that a man should be the leader. He should be the breadwinner, and he should be the one solving all the problems out in the world and emotionally at home.
I'm glad again that you two say for work it's fine, but when it comes to our relationship, I got to be the one to wear the pants. Okay, let's not say pants. We'll use the person's words. I got to be the mountain that her emotions crash into. I hate to tell you guys, we can be very emotional too, and I know there's a lot of guys in my 55 years that are way emotional than some of these women out here now that are taking charge. So I think that's
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. They are, but if you notice,
and I don't think it hurts the relationship either.
and if you notice, isn't it weird that nowadays they're talking about all these single, sexless men and all these guys having issues? Why do you think that is?
They're becoming more emotional than ever.
Exactly.
I think women are putting up with less bullcrap.
No, no, they're not
putting up.
I am not a sexless single guy.
No, I'm not saying you.
No, I'm just saying this. But
No one said you were.
my girlfriend is an emotional rock for me.
That's what I mean.
I'm sorry, but I gotta strongly disagree with everything you say. I'm also a breadwinner right now. It wasn't always like that though. She's going through a time and she wants to actually do something for herself, and I totally support that. But when it comes to an emotional, whatever you just said, that analogy, look, I mean, I think that's the problem also with a lot of toxicity that goes on, because a lot of men have emotions. You don't know how to express it, and then it turns into this opposite toxicity. How do I know this? I used to be one of them.
Me too.
Like, it feels like a lot of these like rich millionaires are the ones that like have huge high divorce rates and things of that sort. And I think it's because they're just genuinely unhappy. Like, is your woman with you for your security, or did they actually like you as a person? And we're starting to see that, women want me at first, but I don't think it ends well, because after a while, like, they want you for your security. They don't want you for who you are as a person and things of that sort. And that's why we see these millionaires and all these, like, really alpha males getting high divorce rates, because I think at first it starts off with, like, security.
Money doesn't make you alpha.
Yeah, I think so.
No, not at all, man.
I'm about to say, you educate me. That's why I came here.
A man can just be
I actually don't have much to say on this one. I agree with Justin and the black gentleman. I don't remember the black gentleman's name. Yeah, that men pretty much have to lead majority of the time. There's very few cases. I understand these people are arguing they're literally arguing the nuances. I understand that men have issues with emotions, and I also understand that, it's a big pressure, but that's the pressure that men were built for, right? Men were supposed to always have done this, and they classically have always until more recently. I understand they also say, women have the ability to take care of themselves and do all these things now. That does not mean they don't want someone to take care of them. And the gentleman with the piercings and everything, I think most people think that alphas are just people that have a lot of money, or that are able to throw their money around, that they're alphas, and it's not the case. It's this presence of a person. I think, to me, morals have a huge deal when it becomes an alpha or not, right? So that's just me. But for the leadership role for women, all for it. Women can do whatever the hell they want, whenever the fuck they want. I don't care. That's more power to them. Please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time. It's chow time.